Hey, it's Nat. Welcome back to the Work It podcast where we unpack what it takes to thrive, not just survive, in the ever changing world of work. This episode is brought to you by IMDA. Now, you know that feeling you get when you're working, going through the motions a little bit, and you just think to yourself, there has to be a better way to do this. Now, I don't know about you, but I have plenty of those moments, and sometimes it's so easy to just whine about it, wonder what if, and then just go back to doing things the way that they've always been done. But our guest today is not like me. So, having spent years working in safety and faculties, he was fascinated by technology and how it could make his job so much easier. But he didn't stop there. He enrolled in TMUS's Step It Up program in partnership with IMDA and built a brand new career in tech. Now, he's an associate software developer at TMUS, a Temasek Holdings company that provides digital solutions to make working easier. Let's welcome to the Work It podcast, Joe Kwek. Hey, Joe.
Hey, hi Nat. Thanks for having me here.
Tell me what your day-to-day was like when you were working in safety and faculties. What was it exactly that you felt about working there?
For me, in safety, I was in that field for close to around 10 years. And then in that 10 years, I was actually, in my day-to-day, I was doing a lot of safety inspections. I was doing investigations. I was also performing assessment of risks and hazards in the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
And then in that place, I was actually doing a lot of on-ground work. But however, despite that, I'm still quite of an individual contributor at the workplace.
Right.
Yeah. In the first 5 years or so, I was pretty excited about the work. I was learning something new every day.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that I even went to take a master's course in safety.
When was it that you looked elsewhere?
Everything was quite repetitive and there was a lot of procedures. There's a compliance that I need to follow up and I need to make sure that everybody is following to the same set of instructions. In short, I was just advocating for a lot of safety at the workplace.
Right.
Yeah. And I think when time grew by towards the 8th year of the 9th year, and then I suddenly arrived at a crossroad. And then this crossroad really kept me thinking, do I want to continue on this path? I do believe many of you might feel it that way. At certain milestones, you start to take a pause and look back, should I continue in this path?
Yeah.
I was at that position, and then it got myself thinking.
In this period of thinking, how was it that you stumbled upon this program that we mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
Where you actually got the opportunity to build a different career path for yourself?
It doesn't happen overnight. Actually, when you start thinking about, when you're at that crossroad, you'll start thinking, and then you will start to look for new opportunities. Yeah, so
Just scrolling on LinkedIn a little bit.
Scrolling on LinkedIn, my career future. Then I was taking a look, and then navigating through the websites, and then after that, I chanced upon this thing called Step It Up by TMUS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, and I was like, hey, this program is actually calling for people from non-tech background.
Right.
And I was like, hey, is it talking about me? Is it for me?
Mm-hmm.
Because in the workplace, in my first few years of working, everything was quite pen and paper based.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So you imagine that let's say we filled out all the permits, applications, and pen and paper, and then we submit it. Then when I received the paper from my colleagues, and then I had to file it up, keep it for 3 years, and then my filing cabinet was running out of space. Yeah, so then I was thinking, this cannot be, is there some way that we can do this better?
Right.
Can we make it store it on the computer? And as we continue working, and then things in the industry start changing. We are suddenly adopting different kind of tools. We are using Microsoft 365. We are using Power BI. We're using Power Automate at the workplace. And I was thinking, hey, these tools are actually quite useful, And not only that, even the regulators, they are also adopting digital tools. All the applications that I used to do on paper and pen, and then I'll have to submit to them via mail, suddenly everything became online application. And then I was saying, hey, this is the future, man. we should actually use these methods at the workplace. We should not continue to rely on all these kind of paper and pen tools, making data collection a bit slow, making everything very cumbersome. And then when we use the digital tools, suddenly you could find data quickly, you can find historical information, and then when we want to come to an informed decision, at my latest workplace, before I joined Teamers, they were actually using this digital platform on Power BI to actually show the accident rate, the incident rates, help us to identify what kind of focus do we want to put our efforts into.
Right.
And then, that gave me thinking. That's when I saw Step It Up calling for non-tech people like myself. In fact, I didn't graduate from any computer science program. I was always thinking it's quite difficult for me to go into tech because I do not have the skills.
Right.
Yeah. And I have friends around me who were telling me about the tech experience that they had. And it got me thinking, I should try this program.
So before you actually went into the program, when you were already thinking about it, it felt like it was speaking to you.
Yes.
Did you actually consult anyone in your life to, sense whether you're making the right choice or whether this was out of frustration or maybe out of boredom? Or did you talk to people about your impending career change?
Of course, I have to speak to someone about it.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I think when you're alone, you could make silly decisions. I didn't want it to be a silly decision. So I went to speak to my wife. And then, truthfully, she actually asked me this question. Are you sure you want to continue in the safety line? In the first time she asked me, I said, yes, I want to continue to give safety a shot. I want to continue to go down this career. And then after that, moving on, she actually felt that I wasn't so convinced in my answer. There was no sense of conviction. And then she brought up a good point. She said, you have been quite interested in tech. Because growing up, I have my dad who was dealing with industrial hardware, with computers. And I was growing up in that kind of household. So when I was young, I made my own computer, assembled my own computer. Even my friends, when they want to assemble a computer, they went to ask me. So she brought that point back to me and say, I'm a person who's interested in all these kind of things. I'm always trying out the latest apps on the mobile phone, trying to use new ways to do things. And then even at my workplace, I was the first to use Microsoft Forms to ask my colleagues to do certain sign-ups for workshops. And I was thinking, actually she brought out a good point. And I think because she's someone who is close to me, she's seeing me for many hours a day. She could feel that I was looking for something new.
Right.
So when I told her about this program, she was very excited. She said, "Hey, you should go and try." After that what she said, I actually went to sign up. But of course, signing up, they have their own processes to actually shortlist people. So I still continued my regular job until I got the good news from Teamers itself.
Okay, well, I mean, we gotta thank your wife then for where you are today. Did you also speak to the people that you were working with, your bosses maybe?
My previous employer, he was also willing to actually support me by giving a letter of recommendation if I were to apply to similar roles in other companies as well.
Right.
So he was supportive in that sense, even to the extent that when I was applying to be a certified workplace safety and health officer, he even endorsed my registration form. And then Teamers came knocking to me and say, "Hello, Joe, you've been shortlisted. Please come down to our office for an interview." And then I was like, "Is this a spam?" I was like, "No, I cannot."
Wow, okay.
I didn't really expect that they would really select me, because they put us through a very difficult online quiz that whether to see whether do we have the logic thinking, do we have the aptitude for it, do we have the correct motivation for the program. And then I was like, no, it was free application, so I just submitted it in. I didn't expect too much, because they said that they received thousands of applicants, but only up to date only 80 people was selected for the program.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. So 80 out of a few thousand?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So
okay.
I graduated from the 4th run of Step It Up program.
Mhm.
Yeah. So the previous 3 programs, they already had like maybe 20 each cohort.
Right.
Yeah, so after that, my cohort is the 80th people.
So what did the program actually look like for you?
The Step It Up program in Timus was a 3-month long classroom training.
3 months.
Yeah,
Okay.
3 months.
Okay.
So we start off at 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. So it's like a full-time job, but it's a
Wow.
full-time training.
Okay. And was it paid?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, I had to ask, but okay. So what were you doing between 9 and 6?
So between 9 to 6, we had certain trainings. For example, soft skills training.
Mm-hmm.
So focusing on presentation skills, negotiation, leadership, and how to navigate tough conversations.
Right.
Yeah, those are really, pretty useful. Some of my younger colleagues who joined the program,
Mm-hmm.
they found it very, very useful.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, when you say tough conversations, do you
Mhm.
mean like workplace dispute management and I guess like conflict resolution and stuff like that?
I think something more simpler, like how to say no to a certain
Oh, wow.
request. I think
Okay.
that's something really good, especially if when we are developing software, developing apps, there are certain features that we do need to do a discussion because like we need to manage expectations as well. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So there were a lot of soft skills being taught during this training
Mhm.
period. Were there a lot of hard skills that you were picking up as well throughout this program?
Yeah, definitely, because
Okay.
we came in with 0 tech skills.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. So very fortunately, the company arranged for a very competent out system, this low code platform trainer
Mm-hmm.
to actually teach us about programming, teach us about databases, teaching us how to create web screens.
Okay.
Yeah, so how to bring all these together to create all the applications that we are seeing on the websites in our mobile phones. So that were the things that they were teaching us.
Throughout this program, you mentioned 3 months.
Yes,
3 months of 9 to 6 every day.
Yes.
Well, weekdays, weekends you get off hopefully.
of course.
Okay. What was the most challenging part for you?
Throughout the 3 months, like every other week, we have some tests, assignments, and we have projects on the individual level and then at a group level.
Okay.
Yeah, so towards the end, we have to complete a capstone project that is done in a group. But prior to that capstone project, so I particularly remember I had 2 tests. So I still remember today. One was on Monday, the other one was on Tuesday. So back to back. Unfortunately, I failed both tests.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I was really very worried because I went in, I did a test, I came out not feeling very good about it.
Uh-huh.
I
can
do have
imagine.
I can. So came Wednesday, my program manager came out and say, Joe, I need to speak to you. So the program manager and the assistant program manager sat me down and then delivered the sad news. Joe, you failed these 2 tests.
Oh.
I thought I would be eliminated or something like that. But instead they said, Joe, what kind of support do you need?
Oh,
You know?
wow. Okay.
Yeah, they were asking, are you facing any difficulty? Is there anything that you need us to help you with? Then they are genuinely want me to succeed in this training. So at first I would say, okay, why not I just retake the test right now? Then she said, no, don't do that. Please go back and get yourself ready.
Right.
And then my instructor, the very competent out system expert, so he also sat me down. I talked through with him, asking him what parts that I wasn't very clear of, and then get him to clarify all over again. And after that, I went home. I also talked to my family. I talked to my wife. And at first I was a bit down, but I think back. In my cohort, there are people from many different kind of background.
Yeah.
There are people who also similar like me who are recently married, and then they have a BTO. They are like juggling BTO and the coursework. And then there was one guy who had his youngest child just 2 months before the program started.
Oh, wow. I can't imagine.
Yeah. So everybody is facing their own kind of stress, their own kind of worries. And for me, just failing these 2 tests isn't the end of the world. Yeah, so and it's a good thing that I'm always speaking to my cohort, getting to know each other better. And then these things all kept flowing into my mind, and telling myself, no, I should not give up. Everybody else is not giving up. I should not give up as well. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, eventually you did pass those tests.
Yes, of course.
Evidently, since you're here with me today.
Yes.
Did you actually learn from failing, or do you feel like that was just the nerves taking you in the early part of the program, or was there really a skill gap issue or like a knowledge issue that you had to fill up?
I definitely learned a lot from this failure. Yeah, because from that failure, I actually understand a bit more about myself, especially like, being a mature guy, already in my mid-30s, sometimes it's a bit hard for me to approach people for help.
Okay.
Yeah, I got certain doubts, certain questions. I didn't bring it out to ask my fellow peers or even ask my instructor about my doubts about these concepts that I was trying to understand better.
Yeah.
Upon that failure, I completely have to switch my mindset. I know I should not be that proud Joe. I should be the humble Joe. I'm here to learn.
Yeah.
So I should ask questions to help me learn instead. Yeah. So I went to ask the instructor, this concept, these were my questions. Am I on the right track? Did I approach the situation correctly? And then he did point out that, certain concepts, I did not get it exactly correct. Yeah, that's where I learned about it. And then I start to realize that, coming to the program isn't just about these tech skills that I learned. I learned these life skills as well, to be able to ask for help, to seek clarifications, to get answers. All these will help me grow as well as a person, not just in my career.
Now you've reached, I believe, your second month in your new role as an associate software developer. Congratulations on passing the program.
Thank you.
How does the day-to-day in your new job look like now?
2 months into this role, I think it's still very, very new for me to say
course.
how much has it changed. But I think at this quick glance for these 2 months that have just passed, so for me, it's more of the collaboration work that I have to do with my colleagues, and not only just colleagues, my client as well.
Right.
Yeah. So we have to collaborate together to bring the solution that our client will be happy about, and our client has to communicate with us about what they expect from our solutions. And then collaboration also means that I'm continuing learning from my peers, my senior developers, and then how they implement the best practices in developing apps. And for me to actually use that skill that I learned from my failure to ask questions. Yeah, I'm practicing it every day, and then I'm learning something new every day. And I think there's one very important thing I like to bring across, which is to be comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because there will be tasks that it'll be your first time encountering it.
Yeah.
And I need to not be stuck for so long. Yeah, I need to find a way to approach the problem so that I can find solution. Then sometimes, I need to discuss with people, and we'll come together, we'll brainstorm, and then talk about it to bring across what kind of solutions.
Now, we know the world is creating a lot of tech roles for people like yourselves to take up, because as we shift into this new working world, a lot of things could actually be improved by a lot of tech processes. And based on IMDA's Singapore Digital Economy Report 2025, we see that demand has risen for employees with tech skills in cloud platforms, programming, and AI. So we know that there are a lot of opportunities out there, opportunities like the ones that you took up. What advice would you give to someone who feels stuck at their job? Maybe they're bored at their job and they are trying to start over like you did.
Sign up for Step It Up.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Step It Up is something that I really benefited a lot. So I would just urge everyone, take a look at our website, try to understand what is it about. Yeah, I think okay, but that's the jokes aside. So very importantly, I think you need to take initiative.
Right.
Yeah, you have to take that first step. Go and ask questions, maybe from friends who are in tech, friends, relatives who are in tech, or you speak to someone who pivot in their career. I think I have a relative that actually shared with me that he went back to school at 40-year-old.
40. Wow,
Yeah,
okay.
to pivot into another career. So actually, before I started this Step It Up program, I was talking to that relative, and then he was telling me that, hey, I pivoted at 40-year-old. If I can do it, I believe you can do it too. And then how about trying out certain courses on online? Maybe that can give you a preview of what is it like in tech. And I think for the next point is that you need to be continuously learning. Yeah. So tech always evolves. You need to be always learning about what are the things that are changing and how we approach work. Okay. And I think lastly, believe in yourself. You got to invest in yourself. You got to take the opportunity. So for me, if I have not taken that opportunity to invest in myself, I will not be here today. And for me, I also have been telling myself, even if I don't succeed in this program, I definitely will bring back some skills.
Mm-hmm.
Certain skills that maybe I'm more familiar with technology. If I go back to my previous career, I could help my company that in some digitalization efforts.
Right.
Yeah, so it's not saying that if you are doing this, you must do that. But you could encounter something, bring back the good stuff, and then you can actually use that as a springboard to bring yourself forward.
Okay, so some very nice advice to round off the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode.
Hey, no problem. Thank you for having me here.
And thank you for joining us as well. If you have a work-related question, you can write to us at cnapodcasts@mediacorp.com.sg. You can find the Work It Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Me Listen, and YouTube, where you can watch this conversation and see what Joe and I look like. The team behind this Work It Podcast is Ho Peining, Junaini Johari, Joanne Chan, Tiffany Ang, and Alison Jenner. Video by Hanida Amin and Arjun Balakrishnan. I'm Nat, and this episode of the Work It Podcast was brought to you by IMDA.